Audience? What are you doing sitting in English class staring at me as I stare at you? Well, they told me I should start off with a joke. So I thought this slightly English-related one would do just fine.
Bookstores. A librarian had recommended I visit this place called Brainerd's Bridge Park, and so I headed straight there because I have found over the years that librarians make excellent recommendations, and the park was no exception. There was this beautiful river and this tree that refused to stop being a tree despite considerable challenges. And then I found this walking path. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the road more traveled by because I did not want to get lost in Wapaka, Wisconsin. I walked for a long time. It was really beautiful. And there I was, awash in the majesty of it all, thinking, I need to pee, and I can't decide if I'm adequately in the woods right now to pee here or if I need to go back to the park and find a bathroom.
So the whole theory behind our senior projects is that you have to pick a problem in the world. You have to then talk about that problem, and then you have to solve that problem. And I was sitting here thinking of a topic, thinking of a problem that I could easily fix. And I decided the world just has too many problems. Far too many. And I started thinking of the solutions to all of the world's problems. And I realized they had something in common. You see, all they needed was for someone to stand up and do something about it. And that would literally solve all of the world's problems. So why don't we just stand up and do something about it? Well, could it be because we're lazy, or maybe we just don't want to do something? Sure, that could definitely possibly be the answer. But sometimes I think we just don't think we can make that big of a difference. We think we're too small and insignificant. You think that, hey, I'm just a senior in high school. What can I do? Well, I'm here to tell you that only you can solve these problems. Hello, class. I'm your teacher, Jory Pacheco. Today, we will be learning about the American Constitution and focusing on the words "we the people." Now, obviously, a founding document for America, "we the people" refers to the power of the American people to change America, to make it a greater nation for the greater good of the entire world. Now, Mr. Shimoleski, what do you think?
America itself instead should focus on the world as a whole. If people from other nations, if we would all combine together, we could solve bigger issues in the world, such as world hunger and poverty. So, somewhat like the United Nations did, joining together to help out the other people.
I believe that we the people, as individuals, have the power to change America as well as change the world.
You're a genius. Those are both excellent examples of we the people. Now, here's Jory from about a month in the future to tell you more. I think I forgot to stop recording.
I think you did too.
Jory, you need to edit this part out. Wait.
My balls itch.
We, the people, are the first 3 words of the Constitution, a document written at the very founding of America. And this is the document that we have used to make America what it is today, the greatest country in the world. It was written by Thomas Jefferson. Can you imagine if he hadn't written that? if there had never been any Constitution, if we the people had never been thought of, well, Thomas Jefferson changed the world just by writing. And so now you're thinking, oh, well, Jory, he was like 50,000 years old when he wrote that. We're just high school students. We're just too young to change the world. John F. Kennedy was the youngest president in the world. He started an organization called the Peace Corps. To the day, 200,000 volunteers have signed up to help over 138 countries in need. Just think of all the people that has helped. Think of all the lives that have been changed just because of this one organization. And it never would have happened if this young man had not stepped up and done what he thought was right. Yeah, but he was the president. He had the power to change the world. And we're just teenagers. What can we possibly do to change the world? Well, everyone has to start out as a useless teenager. Let's take one of my favorite innovators, for example. Now, this guy started out as a useless teenager, broke, living in his mother's basement. His whole shop was a garage. Him and a couple of his friends just sat there and played with stuff all day. But he ended up becoming one of the most famous men in the world because he had a dream and he refused to let it die. His dream was so innovative that nobody else could imagine the world he was imagining. Everybody laughed at him and told him it was impossible. By now, I'm sure you guys know I'm talking about Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, a business worth over $500 billion. Count the zeros. I can't even imagine $500 billion. He is one of the most known men in the world. He's responsible for Apple, Mac, Pixar, iPods, iPads, iPhones, and the list goes on. And he started out just like you. Now see, I'll tell you, you're talking about them success stories, but we are just your average cup of joe. We cannot change the world. What if I asked you to break into a highly secure army base and steal brand new top secret technology that would change the way we fought wars? Sounds like a pretty tough mission, right? Well, what if I told you that you, sitting in this classroom, you, the seniors of Clintondale High School, have already accomplished it? I say, what? Yeah, 'cause see, in the 1960s, the United States Army was working on a top secret project that would link computers from all over the world, and it would be a much more secure way of transferring information. But in the 1970s, this technology was released to the public. Now, nobody knew what to do with them, but later, in the late 1980s and early 1990s, this internet craze started taking off, and it became what we know today. Full of YouTube videos and Facebook updates, rage comics and memes, fandom, games, and so much more. By the year 1996, 50,000 networks were on the newly titled World Wide web. We had taken this technology and completely changed it from anything its creators could have ever imagined. Okay, we get it. The individual has power and can change the world. Well, that's great, but guess what? It doesn't matter unless you do something. Does anybody remember our trip to the Holocaust Museum? Maybe reading the book Alicia or watching the movie 1984? There was a common theme in all of those. See, there were a lot of people following, but never doing anything. See, they could all clearly see the problem. Hitler was abusing Jews and taking over countries. Big Brother was being abusive and, to put it frankly, a creeper. And we're doing the same thing today. We're becoming a generation who just wants to sit at home and play their Xbox. I said earlier that the Peace Corps has helped so many people. But can you imagine all of the people who have been hurt by us just sitting here and not doing anything? In the case of Hitler, the number was 11 million. And helping change the world is so simple. You could help by building houses for poor people or helping out at a homeless shelter. You don't have to be a president or a prime minister. You could do something as simple as vote. Voting is so easy. It's pretty much just a check mark. And one check mark could change the world. You see, in 1994, the U.S. House of Representatives brought forth a bill to be voted on. This bill would make it illegal to carry certain types of assault rifles and larger guns on the streets. And the vote was initially tied, but one representative decided to vote no. And that made all the difference. That one vote, I dare say, that one vote saved the world. Because can you imagine if we were allowed to just walk down the street with a bazooka on our back? I am positive we'd have destroyed the planet by now. At the beginning of my presentation, John Green was kind enough to read us a part of Robert Frost's very famous poem, A Road Less Traveled. I bet you thought that was irrelevant. Well, think again, because now you have to come up here and give your presentation about a problem in the world, and you have to choose your road, whether you're going to take the road less traveled or the road more traveled. Whether you're just going to come up here, give a presentation, and forget about it, or whether you're going to actually do something about it.
Shut up, Hitler. Rory, take Hitler and put him in that cupboard over there. Now, do it.
Right. Putting Hitler in the cupboard. Cupboard. Hitler, cupboard. Come on.
But I am the Führer.
Right. In you go.
Who are you?